So when I first moved to Brooklyn, I had a very small apartment. I kept a lot of my stuff in a storage facility by the Brooklyn Bridge. And I kind of left it there. There wasn't room in the apartment. 6 months in, I'm like, I got to go check on some stuff. And I get to the facility, and my little unit, there had been some flood. So everything was soaked and mildewed. And it probably happened 3 weeks before, and nobody had called or told me anything. So it's soaked, mildewed. It's just soggy. It's a soggy mush. It smells. In conjunction with the flood, there had been some rodent infestation. So everything is covered has been shat upon by meese and gnawed, and it's a big, fondue of awfulness. So I go to the front desk. They come up. We take some pictures, and I'm talking to them about how we're going to fix this situation, how I'm going to get remunerated for my loss. And the guy says, we don't handle that. You're going to have to talk to the rabbi. The rabbi? Yes, a rabbi owns this storage facility, and he handles anything that, any money going out. He writes the checks, whatever. So you gotta. Here's his number. You call him. So honestly, I'm not optimistic about my prospects of coming out on top in trying to extract money from a rabbi in downtown Brooklyn. Like, the over-under is just not good. Okay. I called the number. The rabbi's kind of evasive. I can't get him on the phone. There's a secretary. This guy's got a lot of events he's going to. He's got a bar mitzvah over here. Tonight he's got Shabbos. I'm like, it's Tuesday. Yeah, well, he prepares early. He's got a seminar or whatever. I'm like, he's like the Renaissance rabbi. This guy's doing all kinds of shit. So I'm like, I'm just going to show up. So I find out where his office is, and I show up, and the secretary's like, he's very busy. But I see him in there, and he's doing the yidel deedle diddle, yidel deedle diddle. And she's like, come back another time. I said, no, I'm here. I'm going to wait till the yideling's done. I'm going to wait till the deedling's done, and we're going to diddle out a deal. We're going to diddle this deal out with a capital D. So I'm not going to get deedled again. I already got deedled, and I got yideled. But now it's my turn to diddle. So eventually I get admitted to the rabbi's office. He's now warm and fuzzy. He takes one look at me, he goes, hello and goodbye. That's his opening line. I'm like, guy, what's going on? He goes, you've got this look on your face like you're irritated. Maybe you're hungry. You hungry? And I said, no, I think you're hungry. Have a babka. You want a babka? I don't want a babka. You don't want a little bissel of a babka? I don't want a bissel of a babka. Let me ask you, are you Jewish? I'm like, if it's going to help move this deal along quicker, yeah, absolutely, 100%, even more so. So he's like, what's the problem? And I said, the problem is that my stuff was in storage in your facility and it got destroyed. Destroyed? What happened? Nobody told me. Destroyed? Yes. There was a flood. And then there was a rodent infestation. So there was a flood. This is like biblical, because the infestation of the rodents like a pestilence. I said, I guess it could be interpreted this way. So these are like acts of God. This is terrible. This is like acts of God. I said, yeah, I suppose. Well, here's the thing. On the contract you signed, we don't, acts of God, we are not responsible. If you see line 14b to the C with the next to the and I'm like, listen, man, I mean, let me explain. Let me tell you the dirty secret of storage. He goes, a person, he has these things. He takes these things. He hasn't made up his mind what he wants to do with these things. Really, he knows what he should do. He should throw them out because they are trash. But he doesn't, because he doesn't have the heart. He can't commit. So he puts them in storage so he doesn't have to think about them. But they're still there. And they're building up. It's like a constipation. And what God did when he made the flood, it was like he gave you a laxative to clean it all out and move your bowels. And now you should be thankful. So I'm like, I'm just absorbing this whole laxative metaphor, right? From the kind of kosher Marie Kondo that's sitting in front of me, about minimizing my possessions and my life and everything. And he's like, look, I'm going to do the right thing. I call you, they have to crunch some numbers and figure something out. But be thankful. So a week later, the guy calls me. He's like, I got the good news, I got the bad news. I'm like, What's the bad news? The bad news is that the good news is not the greatest good news. It's pretty good, but it's not spectacular. The one you want to hear. And I'm like, what's the good news? The good news is I am writing you a check right now that I'm going to put in the mail. For $75. $75? Look, what can I do? The God acts the way I abide by what he does, and that's that. And the check is coming. So I just kind of, I kind of just let it all go. I'm kind of like, it's done. It's finished. I'm gonna let it go. Normally I'm a Scorpio. I hang on to these things. I get angry or whatever. I let it go. So this is the 90s where a lot of my stories take place. Now this one is a two-parter though. We're cutting to about 2014. Thank God we've moved on from the 90s. And I have a friend, very smart guy, Latino. I call him Ivy League because he went to Yale. That's what he calls it. Everybody else pronounces it jail, but he has trouble with the letter J and the letter G. So I'm going to visit him. He's recently incarcerated. I'm going to visit him in Yale jail. And when I say that, it's Otisville. Okay, so Otisville, there's the penitentiary, and then there's the Otisville camp, which is where he is. And the camp is like if you have a good lawyer or you did kind of like a white-collar crime. I mean, it's like, what do you call, politicians in there. There's a senator in there. There's CEOs. There's accountants. That's who's in there, right? And he got lucky, and that's where he is. And the thing he did was not on a scale of 1 to 10. It wasn't, in the tens. It was down. Not whatever. I'm not going to judge it, but it was what it was. So I'm going to visit him. He's my friend. That's it. So I go to visit him, and I get there, and what the Otisville camp. There's a mural that says Camp Cupcake. Like, it's very self-effacing, there's a sense of humor about it. It looks like a community center. It doesn't really, there's a softball field. I think there's a bocce court. I don't remember, but there's definitely a softball field. I check in my phone. The visiting area, there's an outdoor visiting area that we're sitting in, and there's picnic tables. Picnic tables. There's a couple pet cats walking around. Like, this shit's unbelievable. It's not fucking Oz, So I'm there, we're talking, and he's telling me about life in Yale, and he's like, yeah, he goes, the currency here, we use dial soap to pay for everything. That's the commodity, that's the currency. You got dial soap, it's like having money. And then he goes, the guy he acts like the camp tailor. He cuts holes in your pants pocket so when your girlfriend comes to visit, she can reach her hand on the table, put her hand in her pocket, and give you a little unobtrusive, hand job. That's what we call it, a hand job. And he goes, the food here, he goes, there's this vegetarian lasagna. He goes, the vegetarian lasagna is everybody wants. It's like a commodity, it's the most sought after thing. But the problem is, before it even hits the commissary, it gets intercepted by the Rock, and the Rock hoards the vegetarian lasagna. So I'm like, the Rock, he's sitting over there. This is a big black guy at the table with the muscles, looks like Dwayne Johnson. I'm like, oh, that's the Rock. No, that's not the Rock. The Rock's behind him. Behind him, I look, oh, yidle-deedle-diddle. I said, there's some guy doing that thing. And I said, that guy's the Rock. Why do you call him the Rock? He's the rockin' rabbi, because he rocks back and forth and everything. So we just call him the Rock for short. And he goes, the rockin' rabbi, the Rock, he's got it locked down here. He goes, in the penitentiary, the blacks and Latinos run it. Up here, the Jews run it. Somebody, all they have to do is shout anti-Semitism. Somebody calls Chuck Schumer, boom, this shit is shut down, And the rockin' rabbi, he's the big macher, So I'm like, and he goes, listen, man, do me a favor. The food truck just pulled up. Can you go to the commissary, see if the vegetarian lasagna is there, and just grab me one? It's like $5 or whatever. So go over to the commissary. No vegetarian lasagna. But there are fish sticks. So I grab him the fish sticks. As I'm bringing them back, I see they're stamped on the side irregular. So I'm bringing him the irregular fish sticks. You can't make this up, right? I set him down. I said, no more vegetarian lasagna. I said, but let me ask you something about that rabbi there. Is that guy from Brooklyn? He goes, yeah, he is from Brooklyn. I said, did that guy have a storage facility downtown Brooklyn? He goes, yeah, actually, that's why he's here, because it burnt down under mysterious circumstances. And actually, he got charged with insurance fraud. So I said, listen, man, I I got to go holler at that guy a second. Just enjoy your vegetarian lasagna, and I'll be right back. So I went over to the guy, yidle, deedle, diddle, and I sit at the table, and immediately, hello and goodbye. And I said, man, wait, why are you so irritable? Maybe you're hungry. Maybe like feeling like a babka? Maybe a little bissel of a babka? And he kind of recognizes and starts laughing that's one of his lines, right? So he's like, look, I'm just very irritated today. I said, what happened? Why are you so irritable? I went to conduct a transaction, and I had the dial soaps in my pockets, and then I went to go pay, and they had fallen through the holes in my pockets. I got holes in my pocket, the dial soap. This is a bad day. I said, listen, you had a storage facility downtown Brooklyn. Yes, I did. Yeah. So you don't remember me, but I had some stuff in that storage facility. Yes, unfortunately, it burnt down. I'm like, yeah, there was my stuff got ruined with a flood, and then there was a rodent infestation. A flood, a rodent, something like that. Flood, rodent infestation, then the thing gets burnt down. Well, this is act of God. I'm like, well, God, God really has a lot of pent-up aggression, for this one warehouse, right? This one building. It's like he's really pissed off at it. He's sending a lot of his, a lot of stuff that way at the building. Yeah, but I don't know. God, sometimes God does this, sometimes he does that. You can't understand. It's all perception. It's perception. I said perception. I said, let me tell you, I was supposed to get a check for $75 for everything I lost. $75, yes, a check. Yes. I never got that check. You never got it. That's crazy. I know. Maybe, you can talk to some accounting, but, it's now, I'm here. And, it's the statute of limitations. What am I said, maybe we can work out a deal. A deal? I said, yeah. I said, we agree that you owed me the $75. Yeah, agree, yes. And I said, which should have been $2,500 because all the stuff that was in there. So I said, now, let me. Well, it's debatable. I said, let me ask you about these vegetarian lasagnas. Those are spoken for. I said, listen. You owe me $75. You really should have been $25. What do you pay for the vegetarian lasagnas? They're $5. You probably get them for $2.50. I don't know if you get this information. I said, well, I know. So I said, look, give me a couple of these vegetarian lasagnas from a friend over there. We'll call it even. You have this weight off of your head that you would owe me this. You're doing the right thing. So there's no debt after that. We finished with two vegetarian lasagnas. I said, yeah. Okay. He calls somebody. The lasagna, the chedem, and the yidel, and the tuchas. Lasagnas come in front of me. And I said, man, I appreciate it. I said, you ever, I said, this jail here, man, it's not the worst jail I've ever seen. But, you have a pretty good attitude about it. He goes, it's all perception. He goes, I don't think of this as jail. I think of this like maybe I did something bad, maybe I didn't, okay? And God, instead of punishing me with lightning and thunder and all the things he could do at his disposal, instead of doing all that, God, in his wisdom, what he did, he put me in storage.